With Virgin Media, you can build up the entertainment and tear down the price. Switch to Virgin Media today and get superfast broadband and TV for just €49 a month for an awesome 12 months. The sale that stacks up. Now on. See virginmedia.ie and check out how our mobile sales stacks up too.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. 12-month contract. Offer ends 27th of February 2019.
Everybody.
Hi, guys. Welcome, beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we're going to have a conversation about religious shit in public spaces, but we're going to kind of do a different angle.
Well, it's our public spaces. Literally our own personal public spaces.
Yeah. Well, you have a park right here in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's got something that's questionable.
And you do too.
And I've got one 2 blocks from my house.
And we're just going to talk about like the fights you pick and the fights you don't.
Yeah.
And what to do. I don't know.
Right.
We'll by the end of the episode, you guys will know everything you need to know about
have
how
completely solved this problem.
It'll be solved.
Done.
You will have your marching orders.
Thank you. Thank God I'm Atheist.
You're welcome, everybody.
We did it once again. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
I got a story about an 86-year-old man with something to say.
Well, is he white?
Oh, yeah.
Because then we should all listen. Everybody should always listen to what all the old white men say. It's always correct.
Well, and his chosen form of expression is political postcards.
Oh, okay.
He sent out like 1,500 postcards, 15,000 postcards.
Holy shit!
To the Democrats and independents in his county.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, he needs to let people know. This has happened in Ohio.
Okay.
He needs to let them know some things about Democrats.
This is all self-funded?
Self-funded.
Oh, my God.
Now, he does sit on the executive committee of the county Republican Party.
Okay.
But they are adamant that he used only his own money for this thing, right? Because the postcard has a big font with it's all caps and underlined. It says the Democrat active anti-God agenda. And then it lists out the things that Democrats are doing that are anti-God. Kill preborn babies. No prayer in school. God out of military. Same-sex marriage.
Okay, yeah.
Hide 10 Commandments.
Hide it.
Bibles out of hotels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
super
part of the platform.
Super active on that one.
Yep. Homo Scoutmasters. That's what we want. We want all Scoutmasters to be only homos.
Only homo.
Right? All sex bathrooms.
Oh, the worst.
Just absolutely the worst. Anyway, he didn't bother sending this to the Republicans because they already know.
Right.
And he sent it out to Democrats who supposedly should already know. But of course,
well, I mean,
news to all the Democrats in the county.
Right, but also, like, if you're telling people what their own party is doing, aren't they already in support of it then?
You would think. But, so here's the deal. And he lays it out. This is his case, Dan.
Okay.
He says, vote Democrat, and you are complicit in this evil agenda. Your vote authorizes their evil actions.
No.
To drive the getaway car makes you guilty of the bank robbery. Vote Democrat, and you bet your soul that there is no hell.
Oh.
So all Democrats are going to hell.
Well, I've already bet my soul on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding, Dan, really. He spent $5,000.
Wow.
That's how much it cost him. The Belmont County Republicans chairman, David Jones, says he's free to do that in this country. That is not where we stand. I like to think that maybe we would take a higher road. We're not condemning Democrats. So actually,
bullshit.
A little bit of bullshit, but at least he's saying something that's, sounds a little bit more, hey, Democrat, you're my neighbor. Mm-hmm. But the chairman of the Belmont County Democratic Party, Phil Wallace, had this to say. I read it slow, and then I read it slow again. I couldn't believe that someone would do something like this. That's what he says.
Well, he has not been listening to our show, because that makes total sense to me. That sounds perfectly like what would happen.
Well, the old crank himself, this is what he has to say. If people are offended or have a problem, don't take it up with me. Take it up with God. Because everything on there is true.
If you have a problem,
my hands are clean.
If you have a problem with my actions, blame Jeebus.
Yeah, I'm just doing what Jesus wants me to do.
I have no problem with him doing this. If you want to waste your money on that, fine. It. First of all, it just sounds like the rantings of an old guy.
Yeah, this is also what he has to say.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, I've been there and done that.
What?
The only thing that works
haven't.
is a government that brings God back. We actually need a spiritual revolution in this country, and that's exactly why I did that.
I want to know what he thinks he's been, where he thinks he's been, and what he thinks he's done that justifies the "I've been there, I've done that" line.
I don't know, like 86. He wasn't in World War II.
He hasn't done anything. What he's saying is
maybe he was in.
He thinks he knows. Like
he served in some war. I bet
he read 2 books about the evils of Pol Pot or something, or Stalinism or something.
I've been there. I've been in that section of the library.
Yeah, exactly.
Pol Pot. Wow, that's
There you go.
That guy sucked.
Yeah, not a great guy.
Yeah,
and just across the board, probably not a cool
easy
guy.
to say that he sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have made a mean curry. You never know. But
that man didn't cook.
No, he had people cooking for him. Yeah. Anywho, okay. Well, I'm gonna take us away from postcards and take us to India.
Oh,
where in the southern state of Kerala, which is strangely largely a Christian state.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
There is, however, still a plentiful Hindu population there.
Well, it is India.
It is India.
Yeah.
And they have a shrine that is sort of one of the more popular pilgrimage sites in all of India.
Oh, okay.
It is a shrine. It is in the Sabarimala temple. Nailed it.
It's such good pronunciation.
Mm-hmm, you're welcome. And it's a shrine that's dedicated to a god called Ayappan.
That's Ayappan.
Ayappan.
Yeah.
There's too many A's, Y's, and P's in that name.
No, there's the exact right number, I bet.
Uh-huh. Anyway, Ayappan, just for some background for everybody, is a relatively new god within the Hindu pantheon.
Oh, really?
Not new, but like it's not 4,000 years old new. So, you know what I mean? It's
how old? How old is he? If he's new,
I don't really.
A couple
have
hundred years old. 1,000 years old.
I don't have that.
2 weeks old.
We're gonna call it between 1st and 3rd century.
Oh, okay. He's been around for a little while.
Been around for like a couple thousand, but like by Hindu god standards, that's newer.
He's new.
He's new.
He's a baby.
He is the son of Shiva.
Oh.
And Mohini, who is a female avatar of Vishnu.
Interesting.
And none of that is important. What is important in this story is that there is a one feature of this god that's been a sticking point, and that feature is that this god is celibate.
Oh, okay.
Now you wouldn't think that would be a big deal. Him being imaginary and all, his celibacy is his own business,
right?
But what it has meant is that this temple to him, this shrine to him, that is one of the biggest pilgrimages places in the world, has been closed to all women of menstruating age.
Oh. So as to not tempt him?
I guess? Question mark? Like, what the fuck?
So only men go.
Well, or girls under 10 or women over 50. Y'all can go.
Oh. Right, of course. Older women could go.
It's
Okay, weird.
It's this weird, inescapably, like, sexist, horrible thing.
What if they're on the pill?
Right? What if they have had a hysterectomy? Can they go then?
Yeah.
There's
a lot of questions.
A lot of
Dan.
questions. A lot of questions. Well, the Supreme Court of India ruled that this was not okay.
Oh. Okay.
And that women should be allowed to go to this this shrine.
They're ruling on religious shit like that? Like,
but it's like a public shrine. It's not a privately owned temple. It's like a public, like, this shrine has been around for, like, whatever 1,000 years or something like that. I don't know how long the shrine's been around. But so it's not really like, it's not like Hinduism is like Mormonism. It's not a corporation.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of owned by everybody.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Well, who takes care of the damn thing?
I think it's the state.
Well,
I'm not
okay.
I'm not positive about that. I have to do more. Anyway, what has happened is that ruling came down. Uh-huh. So, this week, 2 women who totally bleed out of their vaginas attempted to go into the temple and were blocked by conservative protesters and priests.
The Supreme Court says they can.
Correct. So now there's a standoff. Skun-dun-dun. So yeah, two women attempted to go in. They were met with protests. Priests sat on the steps leading to the temple, clapping and chanting religious hymns. Apparently hoping that they were afraid of clapping. The ladies, the women were accompanied by police officers, but the priests locked the temple rather than let these women in because their imaginary friend is apparently precious and will do something.
But why would they even want to go? This should be self-enforcing, right? like if you believe it and the people who run the thing are saying you're not allowed because, celibate guy over here doesn't want you here. Like, shouldn't you just be like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm a believing Hindu, and I'm just going to stay out.
No, because
you shouldn't even have to put up guards.
No, because the believing Hindus also kind of believe that, like, there's gray area as to whether these are stories or whether these are real beings that exist. There's like every Hindu does a different version of Hinduism. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
So if if my wife's version of Hinduism is that she gets to go to this thing, and these guys, these priests' version of Hinduism is that she doesn't get to go, who's right? Well, I'll tell you who's right.
None of them.
None of them.
Right.
But yeah, what's really funny is that the protesters are trying to file a petition with the Supreme Court seeking a review of this ruling. I guess it wasn't the Supreme. The court that made the original ruling.
Oh boy.
Yeah, is their top court. I guess that's the Supreme Court. I don't know. Anywho, this petition is claiming that the celibacy of Lord Ayyappa is protected by the Constitution.
Oh my God.
The deity himself has constitutional rights that are being infringed upon by these women trying to enter this place.
And they need what? Human law to protect them? Like, wow, these deities are really, really
right.
Like, so special.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about Hindu beliefs, a deity should be able to protect his damn self from a mortal woman who happens, to bleed. They should be able to figure that out.
You would think.
So sort yourself out there, deity.
higher plane of existence.
God, who is able to do magic things? Figure it out.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, it's
All right.
maybe we'll have updates. It's an ongoing battle.
Battle. Oh boy. I mean, and true, like on epic scale.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Titans.
Yeah. I thought we had the whole menstruation thing worked out, but apparently we don't.
No. All right, Dan. Back to these United States.
Okay.
Washington D.C. In fact, where the home. I mean, because now Washington D.C. really, Dan, has become synonymous with its with its greatest museum, right? Its greatest institution, right?
You want me to say the Smithsonian, but I know that's not what you're talking about.
No, it's the Bible Museum,
The Hobby Lobby owned Bible Museum.
Yeah, and gift store.
Why isn't it called Bible Weibel? It just feels like if it's owned by the guy who owns Hobby Lobby, just keep it on brand, keep it on message.
Bible libel. That's not bad. Anyway, they've actually had to admit to something. And even they can't deny it anymore. They've got a huge Dead Sea Scrolls exhibit. Apparently it's like the centerpiece of the damn place.
Yeah, it was like it was the big thing that they were talking about.
Yeah, well, at least 5 of the museum's 16 scroll fragments are forgeries. they admit it.
Of course they are.
Technical analysis by a team of German scholars has revealed that truth. They fell victim to some shady dealers of antiquity.
Well, they've already shown that they're willing to deal with the shadiest of people.
Oh, yeah. Like if you'll recall, they were they had some problems with the Justice Department, right? Because they had acquired thousands of smuggled artifacts.
Right.
That we talked about this on the show, that were looted from Iraq.
Yeah. And
other parts of the Middle East. The family agreed last year to return those artifacts and pay a $3 million fine.
Yeah.
And so there were already problematic things with the collection at the Bible Museum.
Yeah.
However, apparently what happened with the Dead Sea Scroll artifacts, which are tightly controlled by the Israeli Antiquities Authority.
Right.
But somehow, back in 2002, a wave, just a surge of fragments entered the marketplace.
Right.
And people were just gobbling them up, even though biblical scholars were saying, hey, these probably aren't real.
Right.
Because
they're
under control.
There's a finite number of these things. They don't just grow. I mean, yes, they came out of the ground.
And at the time, they warned specifically the American evangelical Christians because they felt that they had been designed specifically to appeal to them because they're gullible and they love the Dead Sea Scrolls.
It's almost as if American Christianity attracts credulous simpletons. It's almost as if.
Did you really even need to say that sentence? That's just yes, absolutely. And that's apparently what happened here. The Green family, who owns Hobby Lobby, they were out there just fucking gobbling shit up with their billions.
Yeah.
And so now that poor museum. They spent so much money, and they just keep having problems.
Yeah, well, yeah. If it's almost as if like dealing with shady antiquities dealers might be not awesome.
Not the way to actually fill a museum.
Right, yeah.
Antiquities.
It might be that like going through channels that are like appropriate channels is kind of the right way to handle it instead of the wrong way. Weird.
I bet, though, the Greens had good feelings when they were buying.
Oh,
the
sure.
stuff. They're like,
The Lord
is telling me this is.
They got a burning in their bosom. A warm, lovely feeling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A nice warm colon. That's how you know. If you get a good feeling right down deep in the colon.
No, that's the spicy food you ate last night, Dan.
Oh, well, I'm guessing the Greens don't eat spicy food. Guessing they're more Chick-fil-A types. Anyway, let's move on.
They're like a single pickle.
Yes.
Even that pickle is a little too much seasoning for them.
It's more than they're normally.
This chicken sandwich has so much flavor. What is that? What is that?
Yeah, they don't do the sauce. The sauce is too much. I'm taking us back across the pond. We're bouncing all over the place. This is Nairobi, Kenya.
Aha.
Where a skiz has occurred.
No.
They've skizzed.
Oh, no. What's happened? Who's broken off, Dan?
The Renewed Universal Catholic Church in Nyeri in central Kenya.
Okay.
Has got some new priests. And here's what's interesting about the Renewed Universal Catholic Church. It's peopled with clergy who were ordained Catholic priests, but they're not anymore.
Oh.
Because these guys all believe that clergy should be able to be non-celibate.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So they've started their own little
sexy priests
offshoot. Well, I mean, they're married. You know.
They're not out just having a good gobble down.
No, they may well be having sex with all kinds of people.
I think they should just let them loose. Why constrain yourself?
Free it, baby. You know? Free it up.
Like
what's the point of having a congregation if you can't have access to some sexy time? Have some fun. No, that's not theoretically what they're doing, but it is an interesting message that they're sending. You know, one of the new priests, one Philip Muiga, who's 52 and a former Roman Catholic priest, says, "I'm happy because I've been ordained as a priest in this church. With the experience I have, I will be able to perform my duties as a priest and also as a father." These are all former priests who, and one of the things that they're talking about is that this is just bringing Catholicism in line with reality, because the bishop of this church is saying so many priests that he knows of, including himself when he was a priest, have secret families. They have lovers. Some of them have children.
Yeah.
And they just can't talk about it. They can't actually be with those people. They can't be open about it.
Right.
But they do it because it's fucking humanity. You know, they're people. And people are programmed largely, mostly, to have sex, to pair up. Yeah. To be, yeah. So these guys are doing that. You know, this guy says, "I want to urge our Pope." I love that he calls him our Pope. Like, you skizzed. You can't call him your Pope. "I want to urge our Pope to make priestly celibacy optional to increase transparency in the church."
Ooh, optional. That's interesting.
Celibacy is not biblical and doesn't sanctify priesthood, because priesthood is a calling. We need to change the law on mandatory celibacy because it's leading to allegations of child abuse in the church. Now, I don't know if that's what causes the child abuse, but surely it cannot hurt to allow priests to do part of the thing that they're genetically programmed to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Well,
usually when I read any story about religion happening in Africa, it's horrifying.
Right.
And it's just refreshing to read a step in a not horrific direction. So well, great.
Good. Good for them. Dan?
Yeah.
You like little video games you can play on your phone, don't you?
Oh, I do the odd game, sure. Yeah.
Well, I've got one for you.
Oh, I'm excited. It sounds like I'm really going to like it. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm guessing the way you've introduced this, I'm going to be thrilled.
You're going to love it, Dan. And I suggest that you download it.
Okay.
ASAP.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
It's called Follow JC Go. The Catholic Church has ripped off Pokemon Go completely. There's nothing different except for the fact that rather than tracking down, different Pokemon creatures, players have to capture saints and other biblical characters.
Yes.
The gameplay is just like Pokemon Go.
Oh, I love it.
And it is coming along with the blessings of Pope Francis.
Oh my gosh.
Now, here's one of the people who helped develop this. Says, never has the church had a project like this. This is the Catholic app with the most advanced technology there is. Everything today, language and relations among young people go through smartphones. We wanted to be there and propose to them an educational video game that is religious and interactive and with which they can form evangelization teams.
Okay, I 100% am actually downloading this right now as we speak.
Okay.
On
Well,
my
hopefully
phone.
there's not like a saint in this room because that'll really creep me out. Apparently, Pope Francis is not a very technological person.
Really? But he's an old man.
But he supports this idea of combining technology and evangelization.
This is great because I had a conversation literally, I think, yesterday where I came up with a porn version of Pokemon Go. So I like, this is the other side. I like both.
Okay.
I like there being some of each.
So Pope Francis, he's been all about trying to reach the youth.
Oh, he wants the kids.
He needs the kids.
Yeah.
He knows the kids are needed. Unfortunately, the church hasn't been doing a lot that actually would appeal to kids in these modern times, especially as news continues to break about, them being the targets of priests' sexual desires. So.
Oh. Follow JC Go is in Spanish.
Oh.
Es en español.
Solamente.
Crea una cuenta con tu correo electrónico.
Oh, yeah. Do it.
Okay. I'm gonna have
with
to,
your email. That's what that said.
Sí.
Yeah.
¿Ya tienes una cuenta?
Yeah. Do you have an account?
No, I don't.
Oh. Well, you'll have to figure that out.
I'll have
on
to
your
figure it
own time,
all
Dan.
out. Yeah. Anyway, it looks delightful. I can't wait to go around catching priests. I'm totally going to do it.
Saints.
Oh, okay, fine. Some of them were priests.
It's surprising, though, that there's not a priest version of this game where they're going around capturing children. So
God
that would be
damn it.
more of the Catholic
God damn
version
it.
of this.
Okay. I'm going to go to the Cathedral of the Madeleine and I'm going to play this game. And they're going to think I'm playing Pokemon Go and they're going to be like, hey, get out of here. And I'll be like, no, look.
No, it's follow JC Go.
Jesus. Oh, my God.
I'm surprised it's only in Spanish.
Maybe that's just the one that I found. I didn't read carefully because you were talking and I was trying to interact with you.
The screenshots actually it's all Spanish, isn't it? The map is like, I would have just assumed that that's because they're playing in
Because no Americans are going to download that. Only me.
Yeah.
Evangelicals would, but it's Catholic, so they probably won't.
It's like, no way.
American Catholics aren't going to play it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Come on, Dan.
Nah.
It sounds like so much fun.
Not going to happen.
You could form an evangelization team with, other players.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
go and you capture saints.
And
who doesn't want to
evangelize.
do this?
I want to go and evangelize at people. I'll meet up other people who are playing, and they'll be like, hey, did you get a Bulbasaur? And I'll be like, no, but I got St. Christopher.
Yeah.
How about that?
Guess what? My car is safe.
I've got...
Isn't he the patron saint of cars?
Yeah, or travel. I don't know. I don't know
something
anything
like that.
about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to end on a really fun note. That is not true. This is not fun. I didn't plan this well at all. Beijing.
Dan, don't.
Or-
It's always a high note at the end.
I know. I try to end on a funny one, but this one's not a funny one.
Oh, no.
It's in China.
Do I need to play the sad outro music?
No, please don't. We're going to keep it fun, even though it's not It's not great news. We know that China has not been cool to religious people.
No.
They've been terrible to Christians. particularly terrible to the Muslims that live in
Of late, in particular,
the far western part of the country.
Yeah.
The Uyghurs, the Turks that live over there, they are not cool.
They're like deprogramming camps, re-education camps. Right. That they're putting through.
Or, as they've put it, free vocational training.
Oh, shit. What are they teaching them?
What
skills?
Yeah, the
HVAC repair.
Right? Yeah, basically, that's what they're claiming, is that it's just, skills that will help them find, it's manufacturing, work in manufacturing.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're making sure that they are teaching them Mandarin and trying to make sure that they don't believe in Allah anymore.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
No Allah.
So, yeah, I mean, concentration camps sound so much nicer when you just say that it's just free vocational training that's mandatory and that you didn't sign up for and that you were probably stolen out of your house to go and participate in.
Yeah. The sign over the entry that says "Work makes you free." Right. That doesn't evoke anything.
Oh my God. Yeah. In that nice wrought iron.
Yeah.
And blood. It's a good look. Anyway, apparently they're on a campaign to make sure that everybody knows that this is harmless and nice and don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. And just because somebody was snatched up for praying or whatever, you shouldn't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
It's just work training.
Yeah. We got this one. He's going to be fine. Muhammad will exit as as Ted. You don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Very Chinese name.
Very Chinese name of Ted. I'm glad that you didn't try to make up some Chinese name. I know that that's where your brain went. And you were like, right, not great. It's basically they are Xi Jinping, who's the current president, is the kind of the most powerful president the country's had for a long time, and he has been laying down the law.
Yeah.
In a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Hey, if you guys have noticed any similarities between China and the U.S. recently, you can write to us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click that like button.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we'll let you in.
But we just let you in. We had some folks write into us. Adam wrote in. He sent a series of terrifying pictures of an overturned automobile and relayed this experience.
Okay.
He said, I'd like to share a recent experience I had. The other day, I decided to book off work an hour and a half early in order to surprise my pregnant wife at home.
Okay.
On my way home, the battery light on my dash came on. I thought to myself, I should pull off at the next town and check my car. As I approached the town, I noticed that there was a funeral procession turning right into the town. I, in my impatience, figured, screw it. I'll have enough battery juice to get home, so I changed lanes and proceeded back to my commute. As I entered the highway intersection, a large pickup truck T-boned me. Oh. My car was spun around and flipped ass over tea kettle 3 times. I was able to crawl out of my car, suffered no more than a few cuts, a few bruises, and a mouthful of glass.
Oh, my God.
In conversation after the fact with a coworker, I was posed the question, how could you have walked away from that and not believe in God/Jesus? Or not believe God/Jesus wasn't watching out for you? God sent you a message to turn off the highway, though, through your battery light, and you ignored it. So he saved you from certain tragedy anyway.
What?
Dumbfounded, I replied, he couldn't just cause that fucking truck to obey the traffic laws instead of putting me through the most horrific experience of my life? He said, and then walked away.
Oh.
Yeah, you found one of the flaws of his reasoning. There were many other flaws of his reasoning.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly. Why should I have to have the tragedy?
Right.
Why would, instead of turning it, yeah, exactly. Or, you turned off the road and then turned back on, thereby defying God's very clear message to you in the form of a light on your dashboard. And then shouldn't you have been killed then? By defying that? Shouldn't it have hurt you more than it did?
I am tired of God communicating through, very
cryptic,
obscure, cryptic ways. Like he turns on an instrument panel light in your car as a means to communicate you. What about a fucking dove descending? Like we know he has the power to do that.
How about you just tell me the problem? How about you just whisper in my ear, "Hey Dan, you're about to be in an accident. Turn off at this light." And I'll be like, "Okay, I'll see a psychiatrist after, but I may turn off."
But he better show up, because if you just hear the voice,
that's true.
I need George Burns in the seat next to me.
You know what? Wow, you just aged yourself. We all know it's Morgan Freeman now. We all know that God is Morgan Freeman now. 43-year-old bastard, you. Yeah,
those were good movies. John Denver. Oh God. Sequel, Oh God, You Devil.
Oh yeah, classics.
Yeah,
classics.
Good movies.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about your accident though, Adam. That sucks.
But wow.
Yeah.
Way to just walk away.
Well, and yeah, exactly. I think you should be praying to the gods of crumple zones. Because that was amazing.
The gods of Volvo or whatever you drive.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Good.
Toyotas do pretty good.
Yeah.
In an accident.
Glad you're okay.
Yep.
Emmett wrote in. Emmett says, "My wife and I want to thank you for great shows. We had an 8-hour drive to my Mormon nephew's wedding reception last weekend." Ugh.
Yeah.
Of course, we could go. Of course, we couldn't go to the wedding because it was at a temple.
God.
Which, believe me, you're better off. You saved yourself a whole bunch of boredom by not going to that wedding.
Yeah.
He says, "I saved a few episodes for the ride from Pittsburgh to Norfolk, Virginia. You guys helped us prepare for the night ahead. 2 atheists in a Mormon church. We played games like guess the Wi-Fi password for LDS access. It wasn't Jesus, by the way. I did grab this photo and paint of a painting and was wondering if Frank could help with an explanation of what is going on. It's a picture of Jesus and a man sitting in front of him with Jesus' hands on his head. Or a man kneeling in front of him.
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
Jesus' hands on his head.
That's exactly what you think it is.
Of course it is.
Bow down.
That robe's about to come up. Anyway, thanks again for the great show. Keep up the great work. Well,
yeah,
we're sorry that you had to be in a Mormon church.
Gross.
That's the thing about Mormon weddings. The wedding itself happens in a temple, which you're not allowed to go into unless you have a temple recommend.
Gross.
And then the reception very often happens in a Mormon church cultural hall.
Cultural in
Meaning,
not in quotes on the sign, but
boy, it's if Mormons have a culture, I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's boring.
So there you go.
It's a people who would carpet a basketball court.
It's very low pile carpet
and cut in different colored carpet for the lines on the on the court.
They really used to do that. We had that. I remember that. And you bounce the basketball. It works surprisingly well. I don't know why it bounces. I mean, it's like concrete underneath, but weird shit. Like if you get rug burn playing basketball, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is that you fell down.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Do we have
Dan,
anybody to thank?
We do have people to thank, Dan.
Oh, good.
Guess what, Dan?
What?
We have one new faithful member.
Okay.
Or listener, Slate Gray.
Ooh.
Thank you, Slate Gray.
One of my favorite colors.
We like Slate Gray. We have 2 new venerable listeners.
Well, cheers to you guys.
Samantha and Christopher. Oh, no. Samantha and Keith.
And then
we have 2 new beatified listeners.
Whoa.
What is happening here? Curtis and Christopher.
Well, blessed be all of ye.
Indeed. And these kind folk, they went to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, clicked on the support tab.
It's so easy.
Followed it over to Patreon, and are participating in our Patreon campaign.
It's so it's generous of you, and if you appreciate the content that we're putting out into the universe, this is a great way to show it.
Yeah, and there's different ways that we will thank you, reward you for being a supporter of the show. Venerable on up gets access to the weekly or most weekly Frank and Dan Diaries, which is about 10 to 15 minutes of us blathering about whatever's on our mind.
Yeah. And
that's our a little thank you to all
of you.
But
we keeps it fun.
Yeah, it usually is.
We try to, anyway.
Usually is. Yeah. Anyway, and as always, we do have Angela to thank. She's our emeritus Lord and Savior.
Sure.
You
have.
Or is it is she our Lord and Savior emerita? Is that one gendered? I don't know.
My Latin is lacking.
Yeah, same here. And then, of course, our top donor, our reigning and current Lord and Savior, Jenny!
Champion of the world she is, riding high across the sky. Pray unto her. She will be every bit as effective as any of the other gods you might have prayed to in your life. Mm-hmm. So blessed be she, and amen to all.
Amen. Dan.
Yeah.
So we, as a show, for the last going on 7 years, right, have repeatedly brought up the topic of and told stories about crosses in public spaces that we are just absolutely, adamantly against, or any religious sort of
the Ten Commandments on the Capitol on the Capitol lawn or whatever.
Right. We're against this stuff.
This is all bullshit, and it shouldn't happen, and it should be fought.
Right. We believe that the secular space of government and of public spaces, publicly owned land and spaces, should be free of any particular religious
iconography because the whole concept is it's for everybody,
right?
And it shouldn't
and your dumb thing
favor one religion over any other,
right?
Or over non-religion,
right?
That's the mission behind the FUFRF,
right?
It's an important thing,
indeed.
However, there is some gray area.
Or
rather, there's some there are some questions about which battles are worth fighting.
Yeah,
and which ones aren't.
We're going down an interesting road here because
it's danger.
Because just a handful of blocks away from you, where we're seated right now, Dan.
Correct.
From where you live.
Yeah.
Over here in a part of town called Rose Park, you have a neighboring neighborhood called Guadalupe.
Correct.
And over there in Guadalupe, there's a little tiny pocket park. And if you don't know the term pocket park, it's like a house burned down, the city bought the land.
Right.
Or somehow one lot of land became available.
It's just a corner lot.
Yeah.
And it barely has, it's not even a quarter of an acre.
Right. It's seriously the size of a lot that a house would be set on.
Right.
And the city comes in, they put in a park bench, maybe a swing set. And it's a pocket park. It's not a big, expansive park, but it's a place for you take your kids or whatever and enjoy the afternoon.
They're screaming and you say, go swing.
Right. But on this particular pocket park...
Well, as people may have guessed from the neighborhood name, Guadalupe, it is a largely Latino neighborhood.
Right.
And in this park, there is an art piece, a physical statue, a sculpture
Yeah.
called Lupita the Woman.
Yeah.
Which,
Lupita being kind of a short nickname for Guadalupe.
for Lupe, which may be short for Guadalupe,
Right.
it is very clearly a sort of a take on iconic Catholic Mary imagery.
Yeah.
Mother of Jesus, it is very clearly that.
Without having the details that it's undeniably right, because there's no painted face with Maria's face on it. There's no,
what you've got is
it's a piece of metal.
It's negative space.
Yeah.
So it's a big piece of metal, and then the negative space cut out of it is a woman is what could be interpreted as, it's definitely like what your brain would interpret as a human figure.
Right.
It's got lines sort of shooting out from around it.
Halo-esque.
It's got a crown sort of up above it.
Right. And the head is sort of cocked at the same angle that you see Maria's head often cocked.
Right. If you look at a Holy Santos candle, style candle, candela, that has Mary on it, this is it.
Yeah.
It's just an abstracted version of it.
Right.
But very clear.
Right. And it's over in this park.
Yeah.
It's a little piece of public art.
Right.
Hanging out in this park.
Correct.
And
I stumbled on it a few weeks ago and was just like, oh, fuck.
Were you out for a walk? What happened?
I was just driving around. I was just exploring the neighborhood.
Okay, yeah.
A friend of mine used to live across, sort of near there, but it's like a really remote.
I mean,
like nobody goes to this part of the city.
Right. And I do have to say that at first glance, I don't know that I would have noticed exactly what it was. Did you immediately pick up on it?
Yeah.
Really?
The second I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? And I parked my car and I got out and I walked over to it.
Really?
Because I'm sensitized to this.
Okay.
Obviously, as an atheist podcaster who's been talking about this issue,
right.
I was like, tell me that's not what it... And when I first read the title of the piece is Lupita the Woman, I thought, well, maybe the artist is getting away with it by naming it after, his grandmother or something, Lupe. Because Lupe is a pretty common name.
Right.
And maybe it's just to represent...
And you probably weren't thinking
womanhood.
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
No.
Right.
It was after some research and stuff that it is Guadalupe. Our Lady of Guadalupe was a moment where Mary appeared to somebody in Guadalupe or whatever.
Right. So
it's very clearly Catholic iconography in a public place.
Right.
And again, this is not a destination place.
Right. It's not one of the big parks.
Only someone in that neighborhood even knows about it, or someone who works in the Coors factory around the corner.
Okay.
Those are the only people that ever drive past this thing.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That's all. So,
fair enough.
So, here's the thing. If I were to raise a fuss about it,
yeah, I
would piss off everyone in that neighborhood completely.
Right, but okay. Proceed.
I'm just sort of laying out what will happen. I'm going
to let you continue for a minute.
What is predictable about what will happen.
Right.
Then I will probably piss off the larger local religious community.
Right.
Which I'm happy to do. But there's a diminishing returns on this thing.
Is there?
I feel like maybe there is. Because I don't know. There's a question in my mind about whether this fight is worth it.
Okay, well, I've got another one for you then.
Yeah, let's bring up the other issue.
We mentioned it earlier. About 2 blocks from my place. I live sort of more downtown.
Right.
But there's a small park 2 blocks from my
another
condo.
quite small park, maybe a little bigger than this.
It's bigger than that one.
This one's half a block instead of a quarter of a block or whatever.
Right. But there is this tree that back in the 90s, right? Somebody saw the shape of Maria.
Lord knows how they saw it, because it's high enough up on this tree
Yeah.
that you can't see it from the street.
Yeah, I don't know how.
But someone discovered.
But someone did. And now...
That sort of iconic shape of like... I mean, it's not like there was much of a face. It was just sort of that, like... You could interpret it as a human body draped in a sort of scarf and robe.
But it looked enough like Maria...
right.
That everybody went batshit crazy. It is the Maria tree.
Yes.
There is...
Candelas showed up instantly.
Yeah.
And were constant.
And it's kind of a thing, right? And
the Latin, especially the Latin Catholic community, went apeshit crazy for it.
Right. So...
And then what happened was...
And then it got vandalized.
Well, but then what happened was they built a structure with stairs so that you could walk up and actually see this thing.
Yeah.
And this is a public park, mind you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got a permit, but it's a very solid metal structure.
I believe hearing that that the city was basically just like, if you build it to the right code and standard, you can build it. We're not going to get in the way. But it has to be maintained by the community.
Yeah.
Right. Which, I don't know, that seems, in my mind, that seems to be an interesting accommodation, right? You have these people, they see something that they want to venerate. It's in a park. And the city is just like, well, it's nothing that we built. We didn't erect anything. A tree just happened to grow this and look like it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Who cares, I guess, right?
Well,
and so it stays, and I don't really have a problem with that. But as I've been kind of mulling this over and thinking about it a little bit more, I do have a problem with this piece of art over in that little park.
So here's the thing. What you're saying is that because there is this structure that you can walk up to see the image, no longer the image. The image is gone.
Yeah, it was hatcheted out.
It was like somebody with a knife, and then somebody tried to burn it. Like the thing there, it looks like Skeletor now. More like Skeletor than the Virgin Mary. The Crypt Keeper is now being honored. But there's still this structure in a public park meant for venerating. It is covered with, it is plastered with images of Mary on it. There's another structure now just to hold candles to pray at. And all of this is on the public property.
Right.
But presumably supplied by the local Catholic community.
By the people who venerate
and maintain
this apparition. Yes. So yeah, for me, I guess that's, I mean, I guess I don't love it, but it's not bothering me. It's something that sprang forth from the community, and the city had nothing to do with erecting it or preserving it or anything.
But it's there.
It is there. Right?
So, I mean, are you okay with a community putting a cross in a park?
No, because I think it's this other, there was this tricky little way that they got there. It's a thing that grew. It's there. Nature provided it, right? It just happened, right? You know, we have plenty of people putting up other little religious-y things. Well, no, I guess that's different. But like this is, there was nothing initially intentional about it, right? It just kind of sprang forth. A phenomenon happened, and I feel like the city can just kind of look the other way on it, to be honest.
Okay.
Right?
But because piece of art that was placed by the city or by the, I mean, we don't know the
We
story.
don't know where it came from, but we've already been through this with like crosses in public parks, this, that, and the other.
Right.
that by it doesn't matter who paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So there does seem to be some distinction here, and maybe I'm just splitting hairs, but like there does seem to be something different, and they're both images of Maria, right? It's essentially the same thing, but it feels like the city found a way to make the one work, and I don't know how the other one happened.
I don't either. I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, it was an artist from I don't think originally from Utah, but now a Utah-based artist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who placed it? It's just fucking problematic.
It's so Mary.
And here's what's so funny about it is that if the neighborhood loves it, and if I made a stink, and then if somebody made a stink, and they just got permission from the city to pick it up and put it next door in the front yard of the house of the neighborhood,
right?
Just on someone's private property,
right?
But it's literally just 10 feet away from where it was, and every bit is visible. I would be fine,
right?
It's just that it's in a public space that makes it not okay.
So how about the Mary tree? Does the Mary tree bug you?
Yeah.
But does it bug you enough to want to just shut the whole thing down?
I don't think either of them bug me that much. I'm torn.
Because here's the other thing with the Maria tree. Let's say the city was like, hey, sorry, we got to take all this shit down, right? We got to get rid of all these candles. We got to Guess what would happen overnight? There would be a bunch of candles out there. There'd be it's almost like by allowing it to just, okay, here's a shelf, or fine, build a shelf. The candles have to be on a fucking shelf. At least then they're secure and safe and kind of in a spot. Well, if people are going to be leaning a ladder up against this tree, that's kind of unsafe. Hey, guys, just build something. Right. It's almost like it's harm reduction.
I get
it. Right.
I get it.
But this other one, what if it was what if it was a cross instead?
Yeah, believe me, I'm with you.
It's just as much of a symbol.
But here's the thing.
Just as specific to one community's religious belief.
Yeah.
Right.
But this statuary, here's the thing. And this is I'm just sort of going through where my brain goes in this conversation. I'm not arriving at a conclusion yet. But this statuary, this sculpture is actually very appealing to me visually.
Yeah.
I think it's a well-done sculpture. I think it's simple and nice in its form.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Dan, though, and something I know, and I'm not terribly familiar with the ladies downstairs, but a woman's downstairs area. But it kind of has some sort of... It looks like it could be.
It's a little vulvic. Sure. Her head could be the clit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
And so maybe it's Lupita, the woman.
What we should do is raise a stink about, get this vagina sculpture out of the parks. And then when they're like, no, it's Mary. Then we go, aha! I got you. You admitted it. Now get the Mary sculpture out of the park.
You got a dirty mind. Dirty mind, Daniel Beecher.
No, it was you. That was your dirty mind.
Well, I was also trying to point out a little bit, maybe why you found the
find it appealing. Oh, well, okay, fine. I'm totally fine with that. But
it was working on a subconscious level.
Sure,
you were seeing Mary, but you knew it was something else.
Yeah. Oh, Mary. Anyway, here's the thing with both of these ideas, with both of these park things. There's the practical questions and then there's the principle questions. And on both counts, it fails on principle. It 100% fails both times on principle. Because we know for a fact that if an inverted pentagram magically appeared in a tree, accommodations would not be made for the Satanists.
Well, I don't know. I think we'd have to.
Well,
If they were showing up every night
they should be.
and laying out candles in a circle with a little pentagram thing going around the tree.
Right.
Right? Like, sooner or later, the city is going to have to say, like, hey, why don't we come in and put some pavers in?
Oh, no.
That, like,
People
like
would be
this will...
too livid. We know for a fact that this would not happen.
If you guys, like, okay, the city can't pay for the pavers, but if you guys will put them in, like we can mow around that.
Right.
We're just worried about all these candles
And all of these-
the wax is just getting in the grass.
all of this Baphomet imagery starts popping up all over the structure that they've built and whatever. There's no way that would be allowed. And as long as that is the case, the Catholic stuff fails on the same principle.
Oh, fair enough. So get it all out? Is that what you're
I
saying?
don't know, because on a practical scale, it's like, just let them fucking do it. It's these tiny parks that nobody goes to. They're not destination parks at all. They are just neighborhood parks.
Right, but it's still
I know!
it's still owned by the city. It's still public land, public property.
You and I still have an investment in both of these parks.
Yes.
And we don't have an investment in that religion.
Right.
And here's the thing. When I was up in Idaho Falls a while back, I went for a walk at they have a big public area that's right along the river. It's a lovely place to go for a walk. Mm-hmm. And there's a fucking, monument to the 10 Commandments there.
Ah, jeez.
With a plaque that says, This isn't religious. It's just historical. No takesy backsies. You can't sue us. La 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 la.
Oh, I'm sure that's legal.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely not. That I would make a fuss about. If I lived in that city,
right,
I would gladly make a fuss about that. Matter of fact, I think our listeners who live there should make a fuss about it.
Right.
At least contact the FFRF about it.
Right.
But I don't know what to do about these. I just don't care. I don't know.
Well, why don't you care?
It's just so small, and it's just in these, and it's literally, they're both in neighborhoods peopled by a lot of people for whom it's meaningful.
Right. But the same argument can be made for any of those crosses that have ever popped up in any of the spaces that we've talked about in the past.
I'm baffled by it, frankly, because I actually want these people to have a nice time, and I don't particularly want to make them feel negative feelings, but and here's the other thing. In both of these cases, I don't feel like anybody's particularly feeling hurt by it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a principle matter for me, and I think the principle's important.
Right.
But I don't think anybody's walking past going, I feel excluded.
Because the park itself is so unimportant.
Yeah. It's just...
well, that's the workaround then for Dan Beecher.
I don't know.
Put in an insignificant park somewhere. Put up a cross.
Yeah.
Let the neighboring Christians, have at it.
Why is that more...
They paid for it.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't. I don't like it. It's not okay. But is it something that I'm going to make a fuss about? I don't know. Okay, so everybody, you get to start to be part of this discussion,
right,
listeners?
Okay,
we want to hear what you have to say about it. So write into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com is the email address,
or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, do we have an obligation? Do we have to fight this thing? I don't know. You can go to our Facebook page and bring it up there, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or also on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join, we'll let you in. Also, go over to Reddit, reddit.com/r/TGIAtheist.
I want to hear what you guys have to say about these things.
Yeah.
I'm a little baffled by my own reticence to push it.
All right.
And you don't seem like you're planning on going after anything anytime soon.
Well, like I said, I do see a slight distinction between the two. If I was going to say get rid of one of them, it would be the statue.
Interesting. All right. Do you guys see a distinction?
The other one is totally different. but not totally different. There's a slight difference.
I just don't know what to think. All right. Hey, speaking of all of those platforms, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on our Facebook page. Thanks to Sarah, Danny, and Amy for their work moderating the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, and also to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
Yeah, and thank all of you guys for tuning in and maybe helping us solve this quandary. We really appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.